It's that time of the year again. 16 drivers, 10 races, 1 champion. Today's episode, we're going to predict who would take home the 2020 Bill France Cup. Yo, what is up everyone? My name is Jett and welcome back to the episode of Inside the Lines. Today is going to be a very special video because today we are going to be predicting the entire playoff grid from the round of 16 to the championship 4 in Phoenix and see who will take home the Bill France Cup and become the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series champion. As you can see, bit of a different scenery here. I was able to do some stuff instead of just having a plain white background and a gray and blue curtain. I decided to throw some flags up here. It's my Jimmy Johnson flag, and even bring in some new cars like this gem right here, Dale Earnhardt. I think he ran this in '97 All-Star race. I could be wrong, but got a couple of die-cast cars. Hopefully later on in the future I'm able to do a lot more stuff with my studio and make it a lot more presentable, to say the least. So yeah, let's not waste any time and jump right into it. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the 16 drivers and where they stand heading into the first race of the playoffs at Darlington. Now we're going to separate this into 3 categories. The safe zone, where if something happens in a race, you have a big cushion enough to the point where you don't have to worry about advancing. And then we're going to get to the sort of okay stage where you have a bit of a cushion, but you can't really breathe. You have to be on your toes these next 3 races. And then we get into the danger zone. Basically, when you're in the red, you're behind, you need to find a way to get in before you're knocked out after the 3rd race, or in this case, the 3rd race of the round 16 be at Bristol. So let's take a look here. So the safe zone really only belongs to 2 drivers, Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick. Harvick, the points leader with a 53-point gap. Denny Hamlin in 2nd place with a 43-point gap. They can risk suffering a mistake here in the first race at Darlington and still be able to recover and advance themselves into the round of 12. Now from 3rd place down to 5th place, that is the meh zone, where you have a bit of a cushion, but you still got to be on your toes. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, Brad Keselowski in 3rd place, 25-point gap. But if you remember, a couple weeks ago at Dover on Saturday, William Byron had a 25-point gap or so lead on Jimmy Johnson for the final playoff spot. By the end of that race, he was down 3. So one race could put you from 3rd down to 13th. So that's why I put them in the meh zone. Behind Keselowski, 4th place is Joey Logano, Chase Elliott in 5th. Now Marshall Jr., you see him, he has a 10-point gap in 6th place. I mean, after 2 stages, depending on what could take place, you could be 6th entering stage 1, and you could enter into the final stage already maybe +1 or even into the negative. So that's why from 6th place onwards, you're in the danger zone. Ryan Blaney in 7th, 9-point gap. Alex Bowman in 8th with a 5-point gap. His teammate William Byron, 3-point gap. And then we have a 3-way tie for basically the final spot, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Austin Dillon, Cole Custer, and Eric Almirola. All 3 of them with a 1-point gap ahead of Clint Boyer, who was the first one out. The Busch brothers, Kurt and Kyle, 2 points out for Kyle, 4 points out for Kurt, and Matt DiBenedetto last in the playoff grid. He is -5. And now let's take a look at the round of 16 in terms of what tracks these playoff drivers will be facing. All 3 tracks, all completely different and unique in their own sort of way. Like I said, this weekend, the first race of the playoffs is at Darlington Raceway, a 1.366-mile egg-shaped oval, NASCAR's first super speedway. The track that is too tough to tame is going to be a good challenge for these playoff drivers. And then next weekend, we go down to the short tracks, a 3/4-mile D-shaped oval of the Richmond Raceway. And then we ended off, what better place to end off the round of 16 with the Under the Light Saturday night edition racing at Thunder Valley, the Bristol Motor Speedway. So let's start off. Let's begin the predictions for the round of 16. So like I said, 3 different races, Darlington, Richmond, and Bristol. Right off the bat, I got Harvick, Hamlin, Keselowski, Logano, Elliott, Truex, and Blaney all advancing right off the bat into the round of 12. They have enough speed, and I think compared to the other drivers I'm about to list off soon that I think are going to be eliminated, those drivers, those 7 drivers, have a lot of speed. Even Ryan Blaney, even though he has had a bit of off weeks as of late, also Chase Elliott, those 2, as long as the others, have enough speed to carry themselves on to the round of 12. And now I list off 3 drivers I think are going to be eliminated. Austin Dillon, Cole Custer, and Matt DiBenedetto out in the round of 16. Really, to be honest, I mean, look, I like Custer and DiBenedetto. I even like Dillon, but when you take a look at specifically Dillon and Custer seasons, Had those two not won that race, if Custer didn't win at Kentucky and Dillon didn't win at Texas, they'd be nowhere near the playoff picture. So that alone makes me think, alright, they're not gonna advance. Matt DiBenedetto, he's had speed, he's shown moments of speed early on in the season, but I just don't think he has enough speed, or, you know, as of late, as we got into the second half of the season, he hasn't shown me enough speed to the point where I think he's gonna advance. So I have those 3 drivers right off the bat eliminated. I have Stewart-Haas drivers Eric Almirola and Clinton Boyer advancing, as well as the Busch brothers of Kurt and Kyle Busch, which leaves us down to one final spot in the round of 12, and it comes down between 2 drivers, 2 teammates, Hendrick Motorsports' Alex Bowman and William Byron. Now, each driver has won a race. Byron won last weekend at Daytona. Now, Bowman, on the other hand, he won all the way back at what? Race 3 or 4, I believe, at Fontana. And when you take a look at their 2020 regular season stats, they're about the same. Like I said, each driver has won a race. Bowman has one more top 5 than Byron. However, Byron has one more top 10 than Bowman. Bowman, however, has led 388 laps to Byron's 97. But Byron does have a better finish, average finish, than Alex Bowman. Very slightly though, 16.1 for Byron to the 17.0 for Bowman. However, when we take a look at the stats for Darlington, Richmond, and Bristol, combine those stats since 2018, Alex Bowman blows Byron out of the water. He has 2 top 5s compared to Byron's 0. He has 2 more top 10s than Byron. He has led 6 times more laps than Byron and has a much better average finish than Byron, 16.78 for Bowman and 20.06 for Byron. Because of that, I have to give the advantage to Alex Bowman. He's gonna advance while William Byron will be eliminated. And now on to the round of 12. And in my opinion, this will be my favorite round, or at least favorite 3 tracks we're gonna head to in the playoffs. Las Vegas, a 1.5 mile oval, our first trial of our first 1.5 mile race in the playoffs. And then next week, Talladega Superspeedway, the 2.66 mile Superspeedway, unpredictable action. And then we ended off with the 2.28 mile Charlotte Roval, which has always produced unpredictable accidents and just chaos. I look back at 2018, that battle between Jimmy Johnson and Martin Truex Jr. They both crash, and Blaney out of nowhere comes by to takes the win. Chase Elliott last year runs into the barricades, manages to come back and win the race. So anything can happen at the Charlotte Roval, as well as anything can happen at Talladega, which is why I think this round might be a bit more difficult to predict, but regardless, we're going to try and see what we got. So I got Harvick, Hamlin, Keselowski, Logano, Elliott, and Truex. All of them advance. They have been really good in the regular season, specifically Chase Elliott. The reason why I pick him to advance, you look at Talladega, he runs really good there, and you look at the Roval, like I said, he's the defending winner at the Charlotte Roval, won last year, and has won the last 3 road course races. Remember, he won the Daytona road course not too long ago, so with that, I think that will help him advance into the round of 8, even though I don't think he's had the overall speed to keep up and, you know, to be in the top 10 week after week. I think that Charlotte Roval will help him greatly. I got him advancing to the round of 8 alongside with Truex, Logano, Keselowski, Harvick, and Hamlin. Unfortunately, I believe that Alex Bowman and Clinton Boyer will be eliminated. Bowman and Boyer, I just don't see them have enough speed in order to be in the round of 8. This is the point of time in the playoffs where you really have to be up front a lot. And with, again, I had Bowman and Boyer advance, but very low on the grid. I didn't have them high up like I had the other drivers. I have them low on the grid. For that reason, I don't think they're gonna have enough playoff points and be up front consistently enough to the point where I think they're gonna advance into the round of 8. So I have those 2 eliminated. Alongside with them, this might be controversial, but I have Kyle Busch eliminated in the round of 12. Yes, the defending 2019 Cup Series champion, I have him out in the round of 12. And simply put, his stats are just nowhere near impressive. I mean, right now, at least, we're talking about heading into the playoffs. This is the first time in his Cup Series history, he has not won a race in the regular season. He's only had 11 top 5s, only 13 top 10s, only 243 laps led. 243 laps led compared to the over 1,000 laps led he had last year, and has an average finish of 15.2, just barely in the top 16. You cannot have top 16 type finishes if you want to advance into the round of 8. I think he has the speed, he has the car that's capable of advancing to the round of 8, but I don't know. When you just look at this season, I just don't see Kyle Busch getting it done. He only has 1 playoff point heading into the playoffs, only 1. I just don't see him getting the job done. I have it advancing to the round of 12, simply put, because he's in a Joe Gibbs car, but when you head into the round of 8, this is when real competition starts to happen, and I don't think Kyle Busch is going to be up to that level to compete for a championship and be at least inside the top 10, so I have him out. Now, I do have Ryan Blaney in, mainly because he's had speed. This season, he's had speed, but he's just not consistent in terms of being actually able to close the deal done. Compare that to Kyle Busch, where some races he's just had 0 speed. Blaney has speed. He just needs to figure out a way to get the job done and actually close out those races. A lot of times in stage 3, something were to happen, either on pit road, or they're just off sequence, or they did something to their car, or what, but they are so strong out of the gate in stage 1 and stage 2 in a lot of races, and then stage 3 comes in and then they fall off. I do think that this time, once the playoffs come in, they're going to get everything all settled in, they're going to know how to finish races, and they're going to be up front, and they're going to be in contention. I have Blaney advancing to the round of 8, which leads us down to 2 drivers, Aric Almirola and Kurt Busch. Now, these 2 drivers have had pretty similar seasons. If you take a look at the regular season stats, both have not won a race as of yet. Almirola has 1 more top 5 than Kurt Busch. Each driver has the same amount of top 10s, but Aric Almirola has 287 laps left compared to Kurt Busch's 91. But to be fair though, that's because Aric Almirola started up front, I think 3 or 4 times. He drew for the pole a lot this season, was able to lead laps up front, while unfortunately Kurt Busch, he drew near the middle of the pack, or the lower half of the top 10. But still, Aric Almirola has a slightly better average finish, 12.7 for Almirola to Kurt Busch's 13.4. Now this is tough, but I gotta go with Aric Almirola. The reason why I pick Aric Almirola, I think first off, you look at Talladega, that's a really good track for Aric Almirola. He won here back in 2018. Again, he has speed. I feel like the team has speed. When I look at Kentucky, for example, a race I think he started up front or started on pole, led a lot of laps. He has speed, but it seems like as soon as they get into the middle of the pack, they sort of lost it. And then some races, you don't hear them at all, but they quality are just rounding up top 10s and top 5 finishes. So Aric Almirola is having a quiet season. I think that's going to continue on into the playoffs, and that's why I have him into the round of 8. He has speed. I think he's going to advance, but again, it's just barely. I don't think he has the speed in terms of his teammate like Kevin Harvick at Stewart-Haas, or other Ford drivers like Logano and Keselowski to compete for the championship, but slightly because of the competition that surrounds him, like Kyle Busch, he's much better than. Kurt Busch, slightly better than his teammate Clint Bowyer, much better than Alex Bowman. Because of that reason, I have Aric Almirola in the round of 8. And the round of 8 has your more traditional form of races. 2.5-mile tracks, Kansas and Texas. But then we ended off with a 0.5-mile racetrack known as the Paperclip Martinsville Speedway to cap off the penultimate race of the season. Now, these 8 drivers, it was pretty tough to do in terms of who gets the final spot. To enter into the Championship 4, I have Harvick, Hamlin, and Truex. Those have been the big 3 in my opinion this entire season. I don't see a reason as to why they shouldn't be in the Championship 4, so I got them racing for the championship at Phoenix. The final spot is when things get difficult. Now, 3 drivers I have gone: Chase Elliott, Aric Almirola, and Ryan Blaney. Again, Blaney and Aric Almirola, they have speed, but not to the point where I think they can contend for a championship. That leaves us down to 2 drivers from Penske Racing, teammates Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano. Now, statistically in the regular season, Keselowski beats Logano on all sorts of stats. He has more wins than Logano, more top 5s, more top 10s, more laps led, and has a much better average finish than Joey Logano in a regular season. Keselowski has a 9.7 to Logano's 13.5. And when you take a look at the tracks the round of 8 has in the schedule, Kansas, Texas, and Martinsville, Keselowski has a much better record than Logano at Kansas and Martinsville. So I think because of that, I have to give the advantage to Keselowski. I have him advancing into the Championship 4. So just to recap, in the round of 16, I had Byron, Austin Dillon, Cole Custer, and Matt DiBenedetto all eliminated. In the round of 12, I have Kurt and Kyle Busch, Clint Bowyer, and Alex Bowman eliminated. In the round of 8, I had Elliott, Blaney, Aric Almirola, and Joe Logano eliminated, which leaves us with Harvick, Hamlin, Truex, and Keselowski. Now, even though 4 drivers will be chasing for a championship, let's be honest with ourselves, it's going to be down to 2 drivers, Harvick and Denny Hamlin. When we take a look at the racetrack, Phoenix Raceway, a 1-mile dog leg oval, This track is basically amazing for Kevin Harvick. I mean, let's take a look at his stats compared to Denny Hamlin's. 9 wins for Harvick to Hamlin's 2, 18 top 5s to Hamlin's 13, 24 top 10s to Hamlin's 17, 1,600 laps led to Hamlin's 821, and an average finish of 8.97 to Hamlin's 11.27. Harvick, in all those categories that I just listed out there, he's number 1. Hamlin is around the top 5, top 6 in terms of those records. Because of that, now even though Hamlin is a defending winner, he won here in the fall of 2019, and there's a lot of momentum on Hamlin's side, this season is even. One race, Harvick is up. The next race, Hamlin is up. It doesn't matter what race it is, both of them are out in front. And because it's so even, and we're heading into a track that mainly favors Harvick, and remember, I think we're going to be using the 750 horsepower package at Phoenix, which was the last time Harvick won a race at Phoenix, I should remind you. I gotta give the advantage to Harvick. So, to drumroll please, we're going to end off the 2020 playoff grid with Kevin Harvick taking home his 2nd Cup Series champion, and I have him hoisting the Bill France Cup at the end of the day at Phoenix. So yeah, hopefully I'm somewhat right. I know I made some questionable decisions, like maybe having Amarola until the round of 8 and having Kyle Busch out in the round of 12 might be a bit. I don't know how that might favor some viewers like you, but regardless, hey, it's my opinion. Tell me in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to advance? Who do you think is going to be eliminated? And who do you think will hoist the cup at Phoenix at the end of the day? Do you think it will be Harvick? Do you think it will be Hamlin, Truex, Keselowski, or some other driver? Tell me in the comment section down below. But until next time, my name is JettMDK. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. And I'll see you guys next time.